Melissa here. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if this is your first time here. I am going to be doing a full deck collection update. That is tarot, Lenormand, Kipper, all the things. It's all going to be in this series of videos. So obviously, well, maybe not obviously, if you're new here, hi, I have a lot of decks. So it's not going to all fit in one video, but I'm going to break it up by segment. And in this segment, I'm going to be sharing with you my Lenormand decks and my Kipper and any sort of other decks that I have in my collection. I will be putting each part of my collection update video series into the playlist called Deck Collection Evolution, which I will link up there in the cards, and you can check out what my collection looked like before, because I haven't done one of these in quite some time. So today we're doing Lenormand, Kipper, other kind of miscellaneous sort of decks. So that's what we're going to be getting into, and I'm going to be going through them in alphabetical order, mostly so that I can keep my sanity. So with that said, let's get into it. So I'm starting off with Lenormand, and first off in alphabetical order is a numbered deck, the 1889 Lenormand Oracle. I love this deck. This is so super cool. I think it's currently out of print. I will have links to everything down below that has a link, but what I love about this one is it has that sort of like old time, I don't know, old fashioned, what's the word I'm looking for? Time travel kind of feel. But it's super easy to read. I love the sepia tones, or the kind of like aged sort of parchmenty look to the backgrounds. But it's a very, very, very clear and easy to read Lenormand deck. And it's like the perfect size. I don't really have a reference anywhere near me, but just trust me, it's like a bridge size. So it's like a great little size. It shuffles really, really well. Has a lovely matte antique gilding on the sides. And it comes with a little book, which to be honest, I've never really looked at. So I can't really speak to the book. But when I think of like a really like classic Lenormand deck, I really do think of this one. I just think it's a lot of fun, and it's a beautiful little deck. So love the 1889 Lenormand. The next Lenormand on my list is the Bitmoji Lenormand. This was actually custom made for me by Julie Peekaboo Rose, which is really sweet. She designed the whole thing for me using the Bitmoji situation. So this is the back that she used for mine. She also made one for Peggy, which is super cute. So I love this. I will keep this forever and ever and ever because it's been personalized to me. So cute. She let me pick some of the cards. And one of my favorite things about this little customized deck is that, first of all, the rider is a little me Bitmoji riding a unicorn, which is everything and just everything. And secondly, I really, really love that in the person card, instead of like man or woman or whatever, oh my god, and this one, oh my god, I love this so much with the little ladybug, the best. This is the garden card. But anyways, the people card, we have Peggy for my person, which is like so perfect. So if I ever want to do a reading, I can pull this out and I've got Peggy as my person, which is so great. I do use this pretty regularly when I'm doing a Lenormand reading for me or for me and Peggy, and I love it. Next up in alphabetical order is the Burning Serpent Oracle. Now this is a collaboration between Robert M. Place and Rachel Pollack. I had to have these. I respect the two of them so, so much, and this is a really great deck. This one also might be out of print. I'm not entirely sure. It takes, there's also a bigger book that goes with it, but it does come with like a little white book and an extra man and woman card, which is great. This takes Lenormand and adds just some really cool layers to it. It just makes it feel more esoteric, more spiritual. There are an extra set of cards in here, an Isis and Osiris card, that to me give me sort of a deity reference. So if I wanted to do a Lenormand reading that was going to go in a more spiritual direction, here we go. Here is Isis and Osiris. These can represent, to me, the divine masculine and the divine feminine in a reading, which I think is really cool. There are many, many, many layers to this deck, and it's one that I think just has, there's also another extra card here with the dead tree. There actually, I think, is a few extra cards in here. The rusted cross instead of the cross. The book is such a gem that you can get with this deck, or that you could at one point could get with this deck. Again, it may be out of print. I'm sorry if so, but this is a really special one, and definitely not one that I would let go. I could see at any point, because I just think it's a really cool thing to have and to be able to study and work with. This next one has almost left my collection a couple of times, the Celtic Lenormand, but it is so freaking great. I don't reach for it as much as I wish I would, but one thing that's really great about this one is that the guidebook actually gives you some more Celtic and magical uses for the cards, or meanings for the cards. So you have your regular Lenormand stuff, but then you have how to interpret the card in a spiritual reading, And then you also have dark and light, spell use, affirmation, and deities associated with each card, which I think is really extra cool, especially if you are in that sort of old, I don't know want to say old, that, I don't know, if you're into the like witchy stuff, I think it's really cool. The artwork is absolutely beautiful. This is Will Worthington, the same artist who illustrated the green, why am I suddenly blanking? The green, that moment when you have to look at your bookshelf because you can't remember, the Wildwood Tarot, and also the Druidcraft. The Druidcraft I knew. I was trying to remember the name of the Wildwood. In any case, there's a lot of really cool extra cards for this. You can also customize your deck a lot. So I'll show you those really quick because I think it's a really great selling point of this deck. So you have either a male or a female rider. I have the female rider in my deck. You also have an oak tree or a holly tree, so you can use that depending on the season. You have a more rebirth-oriented snake shedding its skin as opposed to the more traditional way of looking at the snake. You have chickens you can use, or songbirds, or owls. I have the owls in my deck for the birds card. And then you have an alternative man, woman, and child. And you also have a cat you can use instead of the dog, which is a loyalty type card. Loyalty, friendship, etc. So that's really cool. I love that you can customize it. And for a mass market Lenormand deck, this is such a gem. I'm probably going to have to talk about these less because we have so many decks to go through. Next up alphabetically is the Clair de Lune Lenormand. The first time I ever saw this deck, I fell absolutely in love with it because it is so beautiful. This is by Anna Turian. It does go in and out of print just because I think she does. I do believe she continues to reprint it, but its entire point is that it looks like moonlight. Like the whole thing is illustrated in, of course, Anna Turian's gorgeous style, but all of the illustrations look like moonlight with this yellow and blue. Some of them might have hints of pink, or is it all yellow and blue? It might all be yellow and blue. I thought I remembered some pink, but maybe not. But it really does look like moonlight, which I think is just so special. It looks really beautiful out on the table. I don't use this one much. It almost feels kind of precious, but it's so gorgeous, and I'm so pleased I got it. But I lusted after it for a long time before I finally pulled the trigger and got it, and it's not available in this little tin anymore. I believe it comes in a box now, but very special Lenormand in my collection. Alphabetically, next up is the cute little Lenormand. This is adorable. I love this. This is in one of Peggy's small pocket pouches, or no, wait. This is a mini pocket pouch, and it's the perfect size for Lenormand in my opinion. This is such a cute one. This is another one that is mass market and a great little reader with an adorable illustration style. Love this. And the book that comes with this deck is so good. I've definitely talked about it before on the channel. Really clear, easy to see and understand pictures. I was trying to it's not cluttered basically. And I love that the Querent and partner cards are gender neutral. So it's just jackets, which is really great. You could look at them as a masculine and feminine energy if you want to, but you don't have to. So that's there either way for you. Otherwise, freaking love it. Look at this dog. And of course, the rider is a girl with pink hair riding a unicorn, which is literally everything. So yeah, I love this little deck. The cardstock on it is, I think, surprisingly decent, especially because this deck and book set is often sold at a really good discountish kind of price, and I love that. But it's so cute. I love it. So that is the cute little Lenormand. Next up is the green Glyphs Lenormand. I actually have two copies of this because I also have the one that came in the boxed set, which is new to James R. Eads' work or collections. But the green Glyphs is so great, and I really love this copy that I have because it has some of the special really shiny cards, and I'm a sucker for bling. So I think these were Kickstarter exclusives. I actually got this deck in a trade. But this is another really great one for more gender neutral readings because you have person and person 2, and you also have lady 2, or gentleman and gentleman 2, which I think is pretty freaking great. So you have all of those different cards to play with for your readings. Plus, my copy has these shinies in it. So I'm pretty attached to this very first version of the green Glyphs Lenormand, even though I also have the boxed set version. But I love this and was so pleased I traded for it. Very happy with this one. This next one is the newest Lenormand style deck, I guess, that has come into my collection, and I also got this in a trade. This is in a small Peggy bag. By the way, I will have my Peggy bag links down below. Peggy's my wife. She makes all of my bags. If you happen to be new to the channel and you're just finding this now, I will have her shop link down below because you will definitely be seeing a ton of her stuff in my collection videos. In any case, this is the Memento Mori Lenormand and Oracle deck, so it has a lot more than just the 36 base Lenormand cards. It has a lot of that. So I didn't know if I should put this in my Oracle or in my Lenormand, but because it has that sort of Lenormand base and also has a Lenormand style to the way the cards are created or I guess, maybe intended. I felt like it belonged here. I have not worked with this deck yet, so I will try to remember to tell you guys as I go through ones that I haven't worked with, but this is still really new in my collection. And I guess I did do a couple of one-card pulls. There was one week in October where I did pull a couple of cards, but I don't feel like I've given it enough attention yet to really say whether this is going to ultimately stay in my collection or not, but I do really love Claire Goodchild's work, and so I'm happy to have it for now. We'll see. I think it's probably better off hanging with my Oracle decks because it just kind of seems to feel more like a general Oracle than a Lenormand because they're all mixed together and such. My most used Lenormand ever is the Midia Lenormand Mini. This one is in a little micro Peggy bag, Peggy pouch. This is a little bitty guy, so cute. So little. This is the one that lives in my purse. I actually had to go get it so that I could show it to you in this video. I got this so long ago, and the reason this one lives in my purse is because it is literally just so portable and cute and small. And so this is the one that I use the most because actually I use Lenormand the most when I just don't know what to do or something weird is going on and I want to understand it, or like I need a real predictive bit of information, something very blunt and to the point. I will pull Lenormand every time for that kind of a reading, and so this one has gotten so much use. You can still get the Midia. I will link to the current version of it in the description box down below. You can still even get a Midia Mini. I believe the version that is sold now has color to it, or at least more color than this. But it also has really clear images. The cardstock feels so thin, but this little guy has held up really well. And I just love how compact it is. It doesn't have a whole lot of extra cards, but you do get an extra man and an extra woman card. So I have those always tucked away in here. There's also a happy squirrel card, which is so great. So I keep those in the little white book so that they don't get mixed up with the rest of the deck. But I do use this one a ton, and I really recommend it if you're looking for a cute little pocket Lenormand to keep on hand. It's beautiful, beautiful artwork too, and the images are very clear and easy to read. And lastly, I don't even know, I guess this belongs kind of in this category, is the Rainbow Kipper. So I picked this up on a kind of a whim. I really, really want to at one point learn Kipper, and I haven't done it yet, but I genuinely, really, truly respect all the work that Toni Poole has done around Kipper in the divination world. I feel like she really brought Kipper more into, I feel like, us knowing about it more, or at least having heard about it more. I think a lot of that was Toni's work around Kipper, and I just really respect what she's done. I also really, really respect what Rainbow Bright No, I'm sorry. What Stephen Bright has done in the divination world as well. He's written some incredible books. He has a really authentic voice in this community, and I really appreciate his work as well. So this was like a dream collaboration as far as I'm concerned. I knew that I had to support this project. So this is actually published through Rockpool. It's still in its box. Like I said, I have not worked with it, but it is a beautiful little boxed set. I can't really speak to it very much because I still haven't learned Kipper, but I knew that if I was ever going to learn Kipper, I wanted to learn it with this one. We also have some gender neutral stuff happening. We have a main character and a main character. These both look male to me. We also have, oh, I see. Wait. There's another one here. It's just stuck together. There we go. And then we have two sort of feminine looking main characters, and you can tell just by the silhouettes that there's diversity there, which I think is pretty freaking cool. And then there is a color coding system. The colors aren't the colors in the background for no good reason. As far as I understand, there's something here around the actual system of Lenormand, and so these colors are chosen with some intentionality so that you can use it to learn the system, which I thought was really cool. And I love this silhouette approach on these cards, which obviously reminds me a lot of that would be Stephen Bright's artistic work, which I think is cool. So they worked together on this project, and I'm really excited that I have it, but I have not had time to learn the system yet. So it's just sitting there, and I'm okay with that. But this is another one that I have not yet worked with, the Rainbow Kipper. So that's it for Lenormand and Kipper style decks. Let's move on to my other decks category, which is sort of like a hodgepodge, a mishmash of various things. So also in alphabetical order, we will start with the Chubby Bun Rune deck. This is so darling and such a great little set if you're looking to learn the runes and you want a card set to help you do it. I love these images. I think they're really effective and really good at showing the meaning of the runes on each individual card. But they feature this chubby bun character. There's the back. And my copy of this deck is linen. Now this publisher, it's an indie publisher, Destiny. Again, I will link a current version of this deck if one is out there right now in the description box. But they do change their decks quite a bit from edition to edition. So you'll want to always check that, it's the same card stock or whatever that you're looking for. but it does a really good job of illustrating the energy of these cards. And it's a really fun one for me to bring out in the springtime. I really like working with rune decks along with client readings. I don't use them in every single client reading, but I do it pretty frequently. So I enjoy having a rune deck for that. And this is such a cute one. Has not gotten as much use as another rune deck in my collection, but I still freaking love it. And it's so darling. So that is the Chubby Bun rune deck. And by the way, the reason a lot of these decks aren't in bags is because they sit in a little basket. So I have my Rune and my Lenormand and my kind of other decks sort of in a little basket or on a shelf. And then all my Tarot and Oracle typically hang up on the wall, which I'll have to try to remember to show you some B-roll showing what that looks like. Okay, so in the alphabetical category, the next thing in this sort of other category is the Green Glyphs divination set. Now this is a, what do you call it? An advanced copy, like a prototype, kind of like a reviewer's copy of the deck or decks. So this features the Green Glyphs Tarot, the Green Glyphs Oracle, the Green Glyphs Rune deck, and the Green Glyphs Lenormand. These are freaking great. I did do a full video showing these, so I'm not going to get into them, but I will show you just the general style because they all have the same kind of art style. And so you can mix and match the decks into one giant deck. I still am undecided about what my relationship with this set might look like going forward. I'm still playing with it. I think it's really, really, really cool. And the collector part of me really loves this. I just haven't decided if this is something that I really just want to collect or if I see myself using it. But as I already showed you, I really do like my little original version of the Green Glyphs Lenormand, which doesn't live in its box. It actually lives in my Lenormand basket. This lives on my shelf. Next up in other decks is the Making Magic mini deck, I guess. This thing has gotten so much use. I've raved about it a bunch here on the channel. This is such a great bargain. If you enjoy doing magic or you like the idea of working with sigils magically or energetically, this is such a great little like magical toolbox in a little box for like hardly any money at all. I used to use this constantly with my client readings. I haven't used them in a bit. I've been using rune decks instead lately, but I have used this so much. If I'm traveling, I will put the safe travel sigil into my wallet. If I'm doing any healing work for anybody, I will pull one of these cards and I'll put a candle on it. Like some of mine are scratched because I will literally take a little charm candle holder and I'll set it right on top of the sigil and burn a candle on it. And because these are glossy, even when I've gotten wax on them, I've been able to get the wax off okay. There's a card here for every element. I feel like there's just a lot of great sigils for so many different purposes. So if you are into magical work or spell work, this is such a convenient little tool to have. Now there is a larger version of this that has the sigils on like big round cards. And I almost picked that up and then I realized that this is the most convenient form factor for the way that I use it. And I also love that you get this little title of the sigil and the description right next to it, and just the size, the fact that I can tuck them into my wallet or my bag or a book or wherever I feel like I need a little boost magically. But this thing gets a ton of use. It actually doesn't live with my decks. It usually lives in with my witchy stuff, my witchy supplies. So that is the Making Magic deck. It's really great. Love this. Back to another rune deck, we have the Rune Spirals. Now this is made by Nina over at Shuffle Tarot, and this is another really great rune learning deck, and is actually the deck that I used when I was learning the runes. There are extra cards in here for the younger Futhark as well as for the moon phases, and Nina also uses color coding and all kinds of cool stuff in here, but these are pretty freaking great. They also show you the meaning of the cards with the illustrations. I just think she did such a great job with this little deck. I have to admit, I haven't reached for it in a long time. I tend to reach for one of my other couple of rune decks more than this one now. But for learning, this was invaluable and I used it so much. I still definitely recommend it for a learning deck. You can find this one on Make Playing Cards, and again, I will have the link down below. And if you're curious about the size, this is a mini Peggy bag. Next up, the Runic Odyssey Oracle. This is my favorite rune deck. It definitely kicked some other rune decks out of my collection because this is so useful and comprehensive. This actually typically lives on my reading table where you see me here. This is where I do client readings, and if I'm going to pull a rune card for a client in the last while, it's been from this deck. It's really, really beautiful. It's a rose petal finish. It's got this beautiful gold on it. I love the keywords, the fact that there's the name of the rune. We also get some astrological information, some elemental information. There's also like sort of this foggy scene in the background, which tells you a little bit about the meaning of the card, which I just think is so well done and tasteful and beautiful. It kind of ticks a lot of boxes for me in the sense that it looks beautiful on the table. It's a wonderful sort of focal point if I'm pulling it in a reading. And I do actually really enjoy pulling the moon phases instead of a rune sometimes, because I usually will only use one card at a time from this deck. And the keywords on the moon phases are really beautiful. The keywords on the runes are really beautiful. I just have a really great experience working with this deck. So when it comes to just a really powerful all-arounder rune deck, I think this is a really, really, really good one. And the guidebook is really, really stinking good. I don't reach for it a ton, but man, there's so much information. And this actually is a bilingual product. So you have the keywords and the book are both in a combination of English and French. So you can work with either language with this deck, which is also really, really cool. I love that that's a thing, and it's so beautiful. Love this. It's going back on my reading table now that I've shown you. Next up, in alphabetical order, we have my spread machine decks. I really love these. This one's my favorite. I've talked about this before. Spread Machine is by Kim San, and this is a really cool deck system that it's not the kind of thing that I really shuffle and draw from. There are quick instructions plus a book showing you how to use it. But you have different cards to pull based on who the seeker is or sort of what your seeker focus of the reading is going to be. And then you have shadow work, light work, expansion, processing, and success cards. This is a spread building deck. What I really like about this, because I've played with a few products like this, what I like about this is it gives you a prompt for what could be a part of that spread. Then it gives you a bit of a description of how to read that prompt when you pull the card. So it doesn't just say seeker. It says, use this card to represent you, who you are, what you may be thinking, feeling, and how you are positioned in a situation or relationship right now. And every card in here does that. It kind of tells you how to interpret it, or it gives you a question or a prompt. And that's really, really helpful in real time if you're using this to build spreads. I will admit, though, that I got this and this expansion at the same time, and this one completely stole my heart because it's got a theme. So this is really great for building any kind of generic spread. It's really wonderful to play with if you've got a bit of a creative block, but you do want to build some spreads for yourself. But this one, and I know it's an expansion, but I use it as a standalone because I just freaking love it. And I've used it a bunch. This is the Quest expansion pack. And what I love about this, same thing, you have your quick start guide and your actual guidebook to how to use it. But this has got a gamer theme, which just makes my nerdy heart happy. So you have character cards, which are really great. You can sort of build a profile for your character. Power-ups, equipment, status, embark, which is part of your actual journey. Is that it? Yeah, and embark. So I love building spreads by taking each section, shuffling it, pulling a card, and then doing that for each section, and then drawing tarot cards or oracle cards for each of those positions. It's so much fun. I love the theme. I thought this was really creative and unique, and it's definitely the one I want to go to when I just want to play with my cards. It's really super fun for that. So that is the Quest expansion of the Spread Machine Oracle. And the last one in this category is also fairly new to my collection and really personal, but this is a playing card deck. This is actually the Anne Stokes unicorn bicycle playing cards, I think. But let me zoom you in. So I picked up this set of unicorn playing cards. They're really beautiful. The backing has a real traditional, my opinion, of traditional unicorn, sort of European traditional unicorn. And then this is a Latin phrase down here, creed, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, creed mihi, which means believe in me, which I think is just so beautiful. Every single card that came in this pack, I have turned into a part of this deck, and I turned this into a deck for working with my unicorn guides. And so the first time I got this deck, I started flipping through it, and I realized that every card immediately told me what it meant. And so I wrote those down, and now I have actually written them on the cards. That's newer. But I was working with it off of my list of written down meanings from when I sort of channeled it the first time I started flipping through this card or this deck. What I really love is it never really shows just playing card pips. There's an image on every single card. And every single one of these images just speaks right to me. It's a bit of a hodgepodge of illustrations, with some of them being Anne Stokes illustrations, but a lot of them are from like other sources. And I just like, this is a book plate, and it just like, I freaking love it so much. And so this also lives in my purse as a way to quickly connect with my guides if or when I need to, and it's just really great. But the way that I'm using it is very, very personalized to me. Like I said, I've even taken the title card, and that has a meaning. This is just the backing, and it also has a meaning. The jokers, I even colored one of the horns black. So I have sort of a yin-yang energy with the two jokers. Let's see if I can find the other one. Where's my other joker? I thought I saw it. Ah, there it is. So I have self and other, so I can use these kind of like Lenormand cards like Querent and Partner, or I colored the horn of this one black, so I can have sort of a yang energy here and a yin energy here, and it's pretty great. So anyway, that is my little unicorn bicycle playing card deck. All right, everybody, that concludes this part of my deck collection 2022 update. That is all of my Lenormand, Kipper, Rune, and other sort of decks that are in my collection. Thank you all so, so much for hanging out with me. As always, an extra big thank you goes out to my Unicorn fam members, the channel members here on the channel. Thank you so, so much for your support. It really, really means the world. To all of you watching, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, ring the bell, do all of that sort of stuff. It really, really helps. And I thank you so, so much for spending your time here. It really means a lot. Thank you all, and may your magic always shine from the inside out. Bye.